That's funny.
3, 2. At least I remember before we went very far.
Hey.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Headbands watching on repeat. The 80's and 90's can't be beat. Dope rhymes and question jars. Let's blast and take decks in our cards. 80's dreams and 90's haze. Let's recall back to our favorite days. Welcoming days!
Well, hey there, and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. On this podcast, we take a radical ride through the greatest moments in music, movies, and pop culture from back in the 1980s and 90s. If you're new to the show, it's like the bomb that you've joined us today. And for our awesome returning listeners and subscribers, it's great to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by my co-host, fellow nostalgia junkie and all-around chill dude. It is my good friend Rob.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, today's episode goes out to all of you listeners that were blindsided by that no good Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah, personally speaking, if it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I would have been married a long time ago. Remember old Cotton Eye Joe, Dave?
I do.
Yeah. He came in town like a midwinter storm. He rode through the fields. He had it all. He was so handsome and strong. His eyes were his tools, and his smile was his gun, and he knew how to use them. But all he had come for was to have some fun, at my expense, it seems. In the end, he brought disaster wherever he went. The hearts of the girls went to hell, broken, sent. They all ran away so nobody would know. They were all ashamed. And that left only the men, all because of that rascal Cotton Eye Joe. If you walk away from today's episode hearing nothing, at least hear this. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? There you go.
That's it?
That's it.
You know, normally I'm very excited about your openings. Now, I will say it fits probably with what we're talking about today, but
Yeah.
we'll do this for a later show. But there's an argument to be made that that's the worst song produced in the 90s. I hate that song so bad.
It's a classic.
So, it's not classic.
It's a classic Americana song.
It's classically bad.
It's been redone many times.
It's rough.
Goes
I
back
think they're
many,
not
many
even
years.
they're not even rednecks. They're from like Sweden or something like
I
that.
think that's true.
So anyway, so how are we doing this week?
We're doing good. I'm on the back end of a nasty viral.
I was on
infection,
the same I'm on the same back end.
Not really sure what it was. If it was a cold or it
was
flu, I'm not sure.
Mad cow,
I don't know.
maybe.
It was a great weight loss plan.
Getting dangerously sick is always the best. The best method.
Yeah.
Anytime you're looking to lose weight, just get like the mumps or
There you
some
go.
sort of
So, yeah.
mono.
But I got
That's a good
my
one.
hot water with a little lemon in it, little honey. Yeah,
I am positive that all our fans are like, well, I'm glad he's taking care of
There
himself.
you go. Yeah.
With the hot lemon.
I got to
and
take
honey.
care of the golden pipes.
The golden pipes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
all
don't know.
right.
That's
what
they
we're
say.
calling them.
Yeah,
Mine are more.
we took out insurance on
Oh,
my vocal cords.
mine are more platinum.
Platinum?
You can say golden if you want
Oh,
to.
I'm gonna go with gold.
So yeah, but I am a little deeper this week, a little raspier, just
Yeah, you
because
do.
of the. I have a little bit hanging on too.
Yeah.
So maybe we got each other sick.
I don't know.
That's probably what happened.
I don't know.
Although you work with all those little children, so they probably got you sick.
Yeah, one of them sneezed right on me.
That's how it works.
Like it's too late now.
He probably did it on purpose because you're always busting their chops and sticking them in the office.
Quit
So-
being a little ass. And
Hey,
I won't, you know.
all right. So for anyone listening around where you work, that kid should stop being a little ass.
Stop being a
That
little
is official from the administration. So all right, well,
I did tell kids they stop being a turd.
turd. Okay,
I think that's fair. I don't think that is
that's
a violation of
bridge
anything, but
between ass and
I don't know.
jerk. I don't know.
It's not the
Turd.
worst things that kids have heard.
I'm sure it's not.
But anyway,
They probably have older siblings or something.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let us not be asses this week,
Mm-hmm.
and let's share with our fans what topic we'll be covering for this episode.
90s music.
90s music. Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a little bit of a surprise.
Oh.
So,
90s music. That's what you're saying?
90s yeah,
All right.
ni-
Well, but not just any 90s music,
No.
Rob. Today, we're diving into some number one songs from the 90s.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
On the Billboard Hot 100.
Okay.
So these could be
Yes.
legit. These could be legit hits. Well, they are legit hits because they went to number one.
Could.
We'll see if they're legit hits.
Secret.
These are songs looking back, I might wonder how they got to number one. especially when I look around the countdowns that they were involved with.
Uh-huh.
But we're going to listen to each track, and we're going to break down what we think might have contributed to their success, why they had success, and why they climbed higher than possibly they should have. Considering the company they were in, right? So you're privy to and we'll get into what we have in a little bit, but you've been privy to the list of songs.
I have.
And they're all number one songs from the 90s.
Yes.
Were you impressed?
Yeah, I don't know. I did not go deep enough into the research to look what they were up against.
No, I did.
But so that's why I'm hoping you'll carry into that. But
well, I'm going to share that with you because there is when you hear some of what's involved around them.
I am shocked that semis are number one.
And I think you at home listening, even big 90s fans, some of you might go, that was the number one song.
Yeah,
like you'll think back and go, I remember that on the radio, but that was number one. And then when I give you again some of what was around it during that time, I think you're going to go, what happened?
Yeah.
Like somebody paid somebody off. Like there was an executive that slid $1,000 under someone's door.
And I will tell you, there's one on here that I'm glad it wasn't number one.
Oh.
And I heard nothing of them.
Oh, well.
So I'm a little upset.
But you were glad it was number one.
Yeah.
So you did find a song on here that
I think was well deserved.
Oh, wow.
And I think they're underrated. I don't.
Well, then I'm going to let you explain that because I think they're all rated exactly the way they should be. I had nothing. I just think with the amount of great music that came out in the 90s, and we start listening to what we have selected today, I think we're going to quickly question, going through our list we've developed, how did these dominate at any time? And there were so many other superior tracks that didn't climb the charts nearly as high. I've got some that never broke in the top 50 that you would look back on and go, that's a classic 90s song.
Yeah.
Like that's on every 90s playlist. But this one went to number one. Yeah. So, and another thing I found was a lot of these songs, because you've seen the track listing. Yeah. A lot of them in early 90s.
Yeah.
Some of these
90, like 90, 93.
90, 93 window. Yeah. There were some, I don't know if that was because, and we'll talk about it, but maybe some transition from the 80s to the 90s. We weren't quite sure what we loved yet, or I'm not sure. Because there were some turd burgers that made their way up to the top of the list.
There are some really bad ones
that make no sense to me.
That's what people were into in the 90s.
I'm so confused on what they were into, right? Because I was there.
The 90s was a confusing time.
But I was there, and I was not into any of these even then. Now, I knew these were all on the radio.
I was into.
No. Really? Yeah, I know.
We'll
talk about the one. We know which one you're into. Point is I was there, and these were on the radio, and I wasn't into them. I was in high school, and I'm like, none of this tracked. It was like, that was definitely radio fodder is what I would have called it.
Yeah.
But I could have listened to 100 other songs that were better than what we had today. So
I think that was a driver for a lot of these.
What's that?
The radio.
It has to be.
Radio friendly.
Yeah, but to go number one on Billboard, it's combined radio and album sales.
Yeah.
So these people were going to the record store, Columbia or Tower Records, Suncoast, wherever, and hey, can I get such and such?
That's true.
When we break into these, can I get this artist? You think the people working there were like, yeah, it's right over there. Like he didn't even want to stock it. He's just like, yeah, go get it.
The whole section.
And the whole section. Yeah. Just get him. He's over there.
That's fun. Come with me.
You think they're coming in. They're like, do you got Nirvana? Do you got the new Soundgarden? Hey, what about Tupac? Hey, what about Salt and Pepper? What about something good to listen to? No, I want this. These. When you hear these names, you'll be like, no, this is what I'm looking for. So, it's confusing. Some of these songs are confusing to me, but we're gonna dig through. We'll try to dig through the confusion.
And I can say I never owned
any of them.
Nope.
There was one I thought you probably could have had.
There's one that I might have, but I don't think I ever did.
Well, I was perusing prior to the show today. We're in our studio, and Rob's got quite a collection of CDs. He has kept his CD collection.
And there's some still in the house. I moved a bunch in the house.
And so he's got quite a vast collection. He had 4 Hootie and the Blowfish CDs. I didn't even know they had 4 albums, but he's got all of them. Yeah. But like I was telling him before we started, I perused the whole list. He's got Cake. He's got some stuff. He's got some good stuff. But the coup de grace, what capped it off, is you have a 2-disc CD set of Dane Cook. that would not your set would not be complete without the Dane Cook.
And the funny thing is, I've gotten rid of a lot of things.
Yes,
and I've held on to Dane Cook.
Dane Cook.
Why?
So, and that probably came out in like 2005, 2006. That was the height of his like powers, I think.
I'm trying to remember because
I think you got it because
we
Idaho.
went and saw you in Idaho.
Yeah, so somewhere between 06, 08, that height of the Dane Cookedness, you were like, "Yep, I'm going to Best Buy."
And I just remember that was so funny. We were listening to it in Idaho, and then so I bought it.
Yeah, you bought it.
Why I've let go of some CDs. I went, why did I let go? I had to rebuy them,
but you didn't.
But I kept on it. I kept the Dane Cook.
Well, it's important.
It's got good memories.
When's the last time you listened to Dane Cook?
Probably 06.
When you bought it. So I gave you a good idea. I said, take a Friday night.
Yeah.
Make a little dinner. Mm-hmm. The kids will be doing whatever the kids are doing. You all have old kids now, so they're not going to bother you. You and the wife get in the front room.
Yeah.
You know how I know we're old? I call it a front room.
Yeah.
But throw on the Dane Cook. And
I'll put it on the old hi-fi, hi-fi.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Throw Dane Cook on and see if you guys still think it's as funny as it was.
I don't think my wife ever found it funny.
Oh, it was just you.
That was just
all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really
was too offensive.
I really found that of all offensive comics, I don't know that Dane Cook ranked way up there, but
most offensive.
So you should, if she thinks Dane Cook's offensive, take him off and just throw an Andrew Dice Clay in right behind it.
Yeah.
And then you know, the nursery rhymes.
Yeah. Like, turn that off.
I always like the Three Blind Mice. Where are they going? You know, just anyway. So so I was very impressed with your Dane Cook, and it's right on top too, like right where you can see it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's hidden in the stacks.
No.
Like it was right up front. So
there he is.
So
I see him.
Well, thanks to Dane. Very inspirational, I guess, for today's.
I thought he was really
today's
funny.
show. He was. I don't know if he still's funny.
No.
So
he got accused of like stealing jokes or something. He's not well liked in the comedy community.
No. Well, and he's also, there's some question for him. He's 50 or almost 50, or he's 50, and he married like an 18 or 19-year-old.
Yeah.
But they said they've been going out for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just doing a little back math.
That math doesn't math
that doesn't work.
No. No.
And so I think he took a little heat for that one too. So Dane, too bad. You know, I'll always remember the BK Lounge.
Yeah.
Because of Dane Cook. But you know what? Employee of the Month, it's not that bad a movie.
It's not bad.
It's working at the fake Costco or the Sam's Club or whatever it's supposed to be. So it's not that bad. I mean, it's got Pedro in it.
It's funny for the time.
So. Yeah, it's a perfect 2008 movie. And if you went and watched it now, you'd be like, I mean, Jessica Simpson's in it. It's like a pop culture weird landscape.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've wandered out of the 80s and 90s. We don't want to do that. Too much time on Dane Cook this week. So, well, let's have some fun, or we're at least going to try taking a look back at some improbable #1 hits from the 1990s. Not a #1 hit.
Should have been.
Could have been.
No.
I would argue
it's better than some of the
than
ones,
a couple of the ones we have.
Absolutely.
Despite where we've ranked him previously, could be better. So, well, as I mentioned, I dug through. I didn't mention the full scope of it, but we got #1 songs. Well, I dug through all the #1 hits of the 90s. It took a little work, but I did. I went year by year, all the #1s, and I put together a list of 13 songs that frankly don't make any sense. As far as being a #1 song. And yeah, 13's a weird number, but that's how it shook out when I was counting songs. Plus, you know what? It's our show. We can make our own rules.
That's
so
right.
We're going to do 13. Usually we're like a round number, but that's fine. Right. So now listen, our goal is not to bash these songs today, although there might be some bashing.
Yeah.
All right. I say my goal is not to bash the songs. That just clears me if with any of the artists that are tuning in. But I'll probably bash some of them. But in fact, actually some are pretty catchy. I'm sure a few of you at home will be like, no, I like that song, or I remember that song for something. However, they probably shouldn't have been the top song in the country even for 1 week. I can't. And some of them were multiple weeks, but even for 1 week. So we're going to break them down, try to figure out why at certain points in the 90s, so many people thought these were the best songs. Again, they're going to the record store and they're asking for these artists, which again, I would just have to laugh at some of them. So, I'm going to rely on you, Rob.
Yeah.
The idea here is I'm going to give you the song, and you've seen him. You've done a little back knowledge on him. We're going to go through the song, and then we're going to go to your musical acumen
to
find out why we think at
Okay.
that point in that year,
Okay.
how did this go to number one?
Okay.
What was going on in society? So you're going to have to really pull back on your knowledge
Yeah,
here
I think
from
I
when
can
you
do
were
it.
12 and 13 years old.
think I can do it.
And you were plugged into
Yeah.
all of society
Yeah.
at that age. So whatever the reasoning you come up with is we're going to decide the reason
Yeah.
why these songs went to number one.
Okay.
So, all right. So that means we're going to dive into the first track.
All right, we
These
can
are
do
not, they are in an order. They're ordered from the beginning of the 90s to the end of the 90s.
Got it.
So, right. And so we're going to start off with our number 13 song.
Ooh,
It
it's
is from April 14th, 1990.
1990.
And brace yourself for the first one.
it's a.
You already know it. You're probably going to hate it because I think I especially hate this one. But it's not going to be a good time.
I'll be there when you're needing me. I'll be your everything.
Oh, here it goes.
This is awful.
Everything. I'll be your everything.
So good.
You know, I like a lot of
The
90s
background
music.
singing is amazing.
And we'll talk about the background.
Yeah.
I really like 90s music, and I defend it to the end.
Yeah.
This sucks. And I don't know how I got in. I don't even know. I can't defend this.
My love, my life, and me.
Yeah, it's.
I'll be your everything.
Oh, there it is.
yeah.
I was hoping you'd get it.
I know. I had to get it. If there's
Yeah.
anything that redeems that song, I guess
It's the
a little
saxophone.
bit of the saxophone.
Yeah.
But even the piano sounds like a 5-year-old playing on their keyboard
Mm-hmm.
at home. It's not even good. So, all right. Well, this is I'll Be Your Everything by Tommy Page, a singer who, let's be honest, likely he was touring with the New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
So that's probably how he got his start.
Sure.
That's probably how he got the song anyway. Like I said, this hit number one on April 14th, 1990, 1 week, but somehow lingered in the top 40 for 13 weeks. So even though it was number one for 1 week, it was
He
in
was
the
up for a
top
long
40 for a
time.
while. I'm guessing NKOTB's involvement is the reason this song exists
Absolutely.
at all. Tommy co-wrote it with Jordan Knight and Danny Wood. You know, the new kid that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
He's not the Joey or the
He's
Jordan.
like the old looking one.
Yeah, he was the rough one. But apparently Jordan played Tommy a verse of what was this was meant for his solo project for Jordan. And Tommy heard it, so he asked if he could record it. And after wearing him down, I don't know what that process was. Jordan agreed. He produced the track. And soon enough, Danny and Donnie Wahlberg are singing backup. So when you talk about how good that backup vocals are, that's because
That's
those
Danny
two
and Dwayne?
are Dwayne. He's back there.
Danny and Dwayne?
Yeah.
All right.
I think Mark was probably in the in the studio, right?
Wow.
Telling him, you got to push up that bass. It's a little too low. We got to get that up. All right. To Tommy's credit, he did go on to become a successful music exec at Warner Brothers.
He did.
He
I read
worked
that.
with Alanis Morissette, Green Day, and Michael Bublé. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2017.
Yeah, I saw that.
As for the music video, did you go peruse that?
I did.
That went number one on MTV for multiple weeks, and it's horrific.
Like they're in a
the
warehouse.
cheesiest
They're
And he's
like
wearing-
they're preparing for a.
He looks like every white guy in 1990. He's
Yeah.
got like a mock turtleneck on
Yeah.
with just a jacket and that hair. It's rough.
It's great.
He looks like a 90210 extra, or maybe like a backup
Exactly.
for Color Me Bad.
Yes.
Right. So now here's the kicker. Rob, I told you I was going to give you some of this. These are other songs in the top 10 that week that never hit number one ever. Not just this week at all. So we got Jane Child's "Don't Want to Fall in Love."
Oh.
Never a number one.
Okay.
Luther Vandross' "Here and Now."
Oh.
Never number one. Callaway's "I Want to Be Rich" never reached the top spot. And I'd argue those are all better songs
Yeah.
than "I'll Be Your Everything."
Yeah.
So with all this information
Yeah.
piled onto you, Rob,
Yeah.
why do you think this?
Well-
why do you think this got to number one? How did this
So-
top the charts?
So there's a sincere declaration of love, an unwavering devotion and commitment. And I think that resonates with listeners, especially if you think about who was buying music at the time in 1990. This is going to go to the young ladies. Listen to that.
We shouldn't think about
It's really bad.
But if you're a young music listener, and this is
12.
and you can get a little NKOTB fix in there.
My
It's
problem,
perfect.
yeah, my problem is this. Here's my counter argument. Yes, young. This is probably more for young teenage girls.
Yeah.
Let's go 12, 13, 11. Let's go 11 to 14. Let's pretend that's the category. This went number one, which means I just can't believe 11 to 14-year-olds bought enough albums and listened to enough of this on the radio that put it all the way to the top of the Billboard. There were adults listening to this song and thinking it was great. This goes back to that thing at Tower Records. Hey, I'm here to find the new Tommy Page album. You got Tommy Page?
My daughter really likes it.
Do you got the single, I'll Be Your Everything?
Yeah.
My wife and I, we had a date Friday. I really need to impress her. So yeah.
Well, see,
So
right there, if it has anything to do with love, I think it's a seller.
Well,
but it's a well-crafted pop song. You got to give it that.
I don't agree with that.
It's got a memorable melody.
But it doesn't have a memorable.
It's got a catchy chorus.
But does it? I think it's just generic a chorus as you're going to come up with.
But it's easy to sing along to.
Yeah,
It's
really
got
bad.
a pop rock sound that was popular at the time.
Well, I can tell you this:
Tommy Page's vocals were well suited for the song. Come on,
No.
And his delivery was both passionate and heartfelt.
I like I've given you this stance, so I appreciate on the debate side of this table that you're really trying to defend Tommy Page. So let's strip away your argument and give me your actual feeling about the song.
It's a bag of garbage.
It's rough.
I don't like it.
I would tell you, I cannot take anyone seriously that ever played this.
The saxophone's the best part.
Anyone they're interested in.
Yeah.
But I suspect this found its way onto a mixtape or two.
The video, I found
that?
one place online. The video was called a 90's masterpiece.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Who wrote? Nobody wrote.
I don't know, but it.
No one wrote that.
So it had a video to back it up, radio airplay.
It went number one on MTV.
You got NKOTB. You got all the things. So it checked all the boxes of a 90's pop song.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't even know what genre is that. Just
I don't know.
pop?
They called it pop rock.
It sucks.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Well, Tommy Page, this is going
rest
to
in
probably be your last time on the show. So enjoy.
I didn't
Enjoy
check the
the
rest of
space.
his catalog. Yeah, enjoy the space.
There is no more catalog. This
Oh,
was
okay.
the
I
end of
didn't
the
know.
catalog.
He had a greatest hits.
When I looked, I don't think he ever cracked the 100 again. So he might have had one creep back into the 100, but I don't know. Because when you have one that goes number one, inevitably your second song sometimes will just go top 40 because they're like, oh, it's the next one from that guy.
He didn't even have that.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I didn't go that far into the research. So, all right. Well, enough of the Tommy Page. We're going to move on to our number 12. This comes from a girl group that fits right into the 90's trend.
Yeah.
But I'm betting most people probably don't even remember this group that much.
Turn back the hands of time. When you kissed me in the warm September breeze.
Good harmonies.
Back before my heart was filled with pain.
I mean, if you feel like that, that's fine. Are they good harmonies? I don't know if they are. There we go.
This reminds me of a middle school dance.
Do you,
I didn't know this song.
if you
quite
listen in the
honestly.
background, there's this guitar.
Yeah. And isn't there like a speaking part in this? There's
It's kind of a hot mess. The producer failed miserably on this one, but yeah. So harmonies, I don't know if they're great harmonies. So, well, this is "If Wishes Came True" by Sweet Sensation. So if you'd have told me this was by the Jets or Expose, I would have said, yeah. That sounds right. But it wasn't. It's by Sweet Sensation. I looked through your CD catalog. No Sweet Sensation over there. So if you, this hit number one on September 1st, 1990. So this is our second song in the 1990 year 90 that ascended to number one for no apparent reason. Stayed there for just 1 week and then quickly dropped to number 5, making it one of those blink and you would have missed it chart toppers. I read that this song was their only one number one hit, obviously. It's described as, this is not me, this is a writer.
Yeah.
Ultra generic, beyond sentimental pop crap.
Yeah.
All right, that's what he wrote.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could not have described that better myself. This sums up the whole song. It's very bland, and it's like it feels like one of those pre-programmed things on your Casio keyboard.
Yeah.
And the beat comes out. That's that pre-program. It'll say R&B beat, and you hit it, and then that's the song. That's all that's there. So, but this is yet another group that opened for New Kids on the Block. So
go.
we're seeing a pattern in 89 and 90 where NKOTB connection can just launch you into whatever.
Yeah.
Talent optional.
Right.
Doesn't matter. You're talented? No. You know us? You're in. That's what you do. And Marky Mark proves that theory, right? Fun fact, one of the song's co-writers, Ross DeSalvo, has played on records for Celine Dion and Lionel Richie. And Rob, you'll appreciate this. He also worked on Steven Seagal's 2005 blues rock album, Songs from the Crystal Cave.
Wow.
Is that in your collection?
No, I don't.
You might want to get a hold of that.
Add that.
It's a blues rock album.
Wow.
From Steven Seagal. Can you imagine him singing?
I'm going to look it up.
Hey, ladies, it's me, Steven. Like, what's he singing? I don't know. Anyway, clearly the man knows how to attach himself to a hit, right? Ross DeSalvo. So, the lead singer of Sweet Sensation originally thought the song was a mess, and she was correct, and didn't even know how to sing it. And I would argue even afterwards, it doesn't sound like she knew how to sing it. But after some work with the producer, they shaped it into that teenage yearning vibe you hear in the final product. By the way, that's how it was described, a teenage yearning vibe. Well, boom, number one hit. Meanwhile, songs in the top 10 that week, like, that didn't go to number one. Janet Jackson's Come Back to Me.
Oh.
Never number one.
They beat out Michael or
Belle Biv
Janet,
DeVoe's Do Me never got to number one. Top 10.
Really?
Yep, that's it. Faith No More's Epic never hit number one.
Yeah.
That it only hung out.
That
in the
was
bottom.
too bizarre for a 90.
Are you kidding me? That is a fantastic song.
I know, but at the time, I think people were like, what is
But
this?
again, I'd argue all three of those songs way better than Sweet
This
Sensation.
devil music.
My argument to this song is it's generic, it's boring.
I agree.
I don't understand. But you get to argue. Why do you think? So then why, if you agree, did it go to number one?
This is all I can think about. That it, again, memorable tune, relatable lyrics on themes of hopes, dreams, desire for a better future, all things that listeners want. It was released at a time where the peak, there was a music genre called freestyle. I had to look it up, which was popular in the 80s and the 90s, and it was had a common theme of freestyle lyricism originated as heartbreak in an urban environment typified by New York City. And actually, this video, I believe, is like a breakup video in New York. I think it's in like Central Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, so you got that, group harmonies,
Yes.
vocal delivery. You got a breakup video.
You said memorable tune.
Yeah.
Have you even listened to this since 1990? If I would have said to you,
Never,
hey,
no.
go listen to If Wishes Came True by Sweet Sensation, would you have recalled that
No,
tune
I don't remember listening to
off the
this in
top of your
90.
head? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But
I remember it from the radio, but I don't
prepping for the
remember.
week. It's been on, I've been walking around the house.
I got
singing
that.
it. It's
That
got a
doesn't-
catchy little tune.
It's all right. That's not a catchy tune. It's a bad tune. All right. So, and some of you may disagree out there, but I think just like I'll Be Your Everything, and you said at the beginning of this, it falls right into that 6th grade, 7th grade dance
Absolutely.
situation.
It had significant radio airplay, and I had lots of MTV exposure. So I had everything backing it up to make it a hit.
I just can't
And all the
imagine
young people are.
you're like alone with that special someone and you turn this on. Do they just laugh at you? I mean, of all the songs you could go to express love, you went with If Wishes Came True. But I'm going to bet somebody out there is like, I met my wife.
No.
I met my husband.
I got some of my stuff from the YouTube. The YouTube comments are the best.
Oh.
And people going, oh my gosh,
I know.
I can't find my CD. I
Are you
lost
kidding
it.
me?
I still have the same CD. And
You
it's
have a
the-
CD of Sweet Sensation.
Yes, people
No,
are like
nobody has
dying over this song.
That's insane.
Yeah, I made me think about my first boyfriend.
And I'm right in this target audience. 1990, I'm 14. This should go right into my zone, right?
I don't remember
it's
this one.
Horrible.
No.
Yeah. That Faith No More song should have definitely
Well, that I remember.
been much higher.
I remember that like melt in my face. And then,
All right. Well, I don't think you made a compelling argument for that
All
one,
right.
but I think it went to number one. I don't even know why. I think this is one of those where the executives paid off the radio guys. Just keep playing that song over and
I
over,
don't know.
please.
I think it's just the listeners at the time, or it's what
This
we
is
were
what they
into.
wanted? In 1990? I mean, Wilson Phillips was popular.
You're on the outs of the late 80s. You're coming out of the 80s. You're going into the 90s. It was a weird time.
So you're telling me people were yearning or clamoring for average to below average R&B sounding songs from girl groups?
Well, I don't think there was anything that was. All of this is very like you. I think you
Vogue's
said
out at this time.
I know, but I think you said everything is very cookie cutter.
It is,
and I think that was a part of the part of the machine.
I gotcha.
Let's put it into the little synthesizer, and it kicks out a tune, and we put some faces on it, and we got a hit. And
all right,
we're churning them out. So,
All right. Well,
anyway.
we're going to churn on to number 11. I think Sweet Sensation got all the attention they needed. First two songs were ballads, Rob. And guess what? Number 3, no different. There might be a recurring theme with a lot of these songs we picked today. Apparently in the 90s, we were really all, deep in our feelings. Like we were just, it was really dramatic.
I'm shocked that you disagreed, but I figured you'd like this one.
I don't like this one. We'll discuss. I understand if people do like it. I just don't enjoy it. When I think of all the late 80s, early 90s, like hairband ballads and stuff, you just said cookie cutter. That's what this is. This isn't, there's nothing original here. Now, I'm not denying this is not somebody's dance or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, to me, when you have all the other options, your Motley Crues and all that, this...
I think, we'll talk about it. But I also think these guys were at a... They didn't last very long.
They did not.
And I think it's because they came out at a time when...
Well, they came out at a bad time.
Yeah, the 90s were mixing with, the grunge movement was coming, and I think they got smushed and pushed out. And
let's talk about these guys.
Okay.
So this came out, this is parentheticals. Can't Live Without Your, that's no apostrophe, just an R. Love and Affection by Nelson. And for most of you listening, you would know that. Hit number 1 on September 29th, 1990. I don't know what's going on in September there because September 1st was Sweet Sensation, and then you end the month with Nelson. That's a rough month. You probably remember Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, long-haired blonde twins. I will say, off the record, amazing hair. I won't doubt their hairdo.
Yeah.
Hairdos were great. They're the sons of Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Ricky Nelson. I'm not familiar with, but I bet my parents and your parents would know.
Ozzy and Harriet.
This was off their debut album After the Rain. Now, segue. I like After the Rain. I like that song, but I don't like Love and Affection. It just doesn't work. If you're going to check out a Nelson song, go for After the Rain. Stay away from this one. Here's where it gets fun. Gunnar claims he wrote the song because in high school, girls didn't like him and would just ask him for advice about their dirtbag, that's in quotation marks, boyfriends. He'd make them feel better only for them to go right back to the dirtbag. So he was in the friend zone for a long time there. Meanwhile, Matthew says he developed the guitar riff while looking at a picture of Cindy Crawford in Vogue. I don't know. That sounds like a creepy story. Clearly, some weird inspiration for these two at this point. So this hit number 1. Nelson became the only act in music history besides the Bee Gees to have twins Basil, top the charts. The video, total MTV staple at the time. Picture any hairband video from 1990 and you got it. But the love was mostly American. It did not crack the top 10 anywhere else in the world. It hit number 11 in Canada. This is the best I could find. Fun fact, Nelson was the musical guest on Saturday Night Live in 1986, hosted by none other than Ronald Reagan Jr. That sounds like a terrible episode of Saturday Night Live.
They were around in 86?
Apparently so, because they were the guest, musical guest.
Oh.
Other songs on the chart that week, Rob. Other songs on the chart that never got to number 1.
Yeah.
But Nelson made it.
Okay.
All right. Depeche Mode's Policy of Truth.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
In Excess's Suicide Blonde.
Also dumb.
And Slaughter, if you're going to go with a hairband anthem, Slaughter's Fly to the Angels.
Oh, my gosh.
Never went to number 1, but this went to number 1.
That was a great one.
That is way better. If you're going to have a hairband ballad, that is 1,000% better.
Yeah.
Never hit number 1. So how did this go to number 1, Rob? Give me the back. Give me why you think Nelson was so successful in the 90s.
I have legacy and family connections. So you've got and I think that's kind of a built-in fan base.
All right.
So you've got an older fan base that goes, oh, it's the little Nelson kids.
So you think older folks drove this?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's got an infectious melody, relatable lyrics, powerful and emotive vocals.
Okay.
Delivered to the you got the two guys. They're delivering the song's message with conviction that captivates listeners. Had a strong promotion on radio airplay. They had visual appeal, so they had good looks, stylish, that aligned with the aesthetics of the time, especially the glam rock era. So they kind of fit into that glam rock look. But their sound had a weird kind of, it was a blend of pop.
Yeah.
You got a little rock in there. almost a little country-ish vibe
Yeah.
in there, right? So you had
Well, I have something interesting for
it was
that, so.
it was accessible.
Accessible.
It
yeah.
wasn't offensive. It was everything that it was perfect for
I would
radio.
say-
Their sound was accessible and catchy. It was a perfect choice for radio stations and music videos.
I gotcha.
It was a hit making machine.
I would say it's more adult contemporary than rock,
Agreed.
but it was on the rock charts.
Yeah.
I would say that.
'Cause I don't think it sounds much different than a Bon Jovi song.
But I no, because
So they're-
I think the key to that is Bon Jovi's a better singer. So because some of his ability to sing better comes
Yeah.
out, a little more soul, a little more things like
Yeah.
that. This again is a bland kind of generic.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique about these two guys. Their sound's not unique.
Yeah.
The tune they're playing's not
But see,
unique.
that's what I think is interesting. Is some of the stuff you listed that should have been number one, like Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Absolutely should be number one. And they're way more unique.
That's
and
what I'm
different.
getting at.
And I think maybe in the 90s, early 90s, or
That's
through
what we
the
were
90s.
going for, though.
I know, but I think that people didn't want that.
Oh, but a year later, we can prove that they did, right? In 1991, you can prove that they did want that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're on the cusp of that.
Yeah.
Well, Nelson's first album, After the Rain, was quite successful, spinning out 3 top 10 hits and 1 number 1, which we just discussed. But by the time it was time for their
Roll
second
your
record,
eyes.
yeah, well, it's rough. By the time their second record was ready to go, the label Geffen was so into Nirvana, as was everyone else, that they basically said, we don't need to deal with Nelson right now. So a manager did tell them, though, you guys don't need another album after this. You had 3 top 10 hits.
Yeah.
You had a number 1. But Nelson said, this isn't a hobby. All right, we have no plan B, except the trust fund that apparently our rich father would have left us. In recent years, they've been recording country music. So you said there's a little country in there. So
Yeah.
since like 2005, 2006, they've been doing
can see
country
that.
albums. Not anything you would probably recognize,
No.
but they're out there. They're still trying to be musicians.
Yeah, they're gonna play the casino circuit.
Yeah, but they definitely
through
ran
town.
into the buzzsaw of they had a successful first album, and then when Nirvana hit, Geffen was like, "We don't need you anymore." That was it.
Nope.
And they felt that, and that was it. So, all right, well, that takes us to our number 10, "C'est la vie" to Nelson, Gunnar, and Matthew.
Poor Gunnar and Matthew.
But number 10. Fourth slow song in a row.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of slow ones, Rob. Trust me, this is going to be a trend for a while. We're diving into a song from a band named Surface.
I do like this one.
This is no different than the first song. So this is the one you like.
No.
Okay. Listen to this.
There's one I really like.
By the way, the lyrics are awful.
Do you remember that the first time?
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't cry.
You didn't cry?
No.
Oh,
I was able to hold back these tears he's talking about. Oh, here we go.
look at that. That is.
Does that sound much different than Tommy Page? I don't
No.
think that it does.
I'm telling you, very formulaic.
So-
That is
Yeah.
a theme. Yes.
So, as I mentioned, Surface. This is their song the first time, if you didn't catch that from the chorus,
Yes.
because they're very clear on it.
What should we call this song?
This is from 1991. Hit number 1 January 26th, 1991 to be exact. The early 90s were interesting because out of the 13 songs I'm covering, 8 are from 1990 and 1991. So
Yeah.
that window of time seems to be clearly everyone was feeling some kind of way in those 2 years. Again, maybe coming off the 80s, as you said, not sure. So this was number 1 for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks in a row, everybody thought this is the best song in the country before CNC Music Factory came along and made them sweat right out of the top spot there. So they went and took them right away.
See, that was different.
Yeah, it was different. So now I'm no songwriter, but the chorus goes like this, Rob. The first time I looked into your eyes, I cried. I mean, really, that's not romantic. That's creepy. First time I looked at your eyes, I cried.
Overcome with emotion.
Yeah, that's a red flag, as the kids would say now. As someone who dated women before my wife, albeit a long, long time ago, I can tell you, if you call a girl too soon, You'll never hear from her again.
Yeah.
You tell her you cried the first time you looked in her eyes,
Gone.
you're going to be alone forever.
Yeah,
Like
this
that's
is
it.
true.
So yeah, you can't do that. They'll be like,
No.
oh nope, this dude's done. This song feels like another bland early 90s R&B track. If you asked me who sang it before I did this, I could have named you 10 other bands I would have thought maybe it was. The kicker though, it sounds pretty dated for 1991 if you actually listen to it.
I agree.
Which is interesting because they actually recorded it in 1986, but decided not to release it until 1990.
That makes sense.
And they didn't update the sound at all. They just released the version that they made. The band figured it hit number one because it was reassuring and a throwback to some better times. So they think 86 was better than 1990. It would be something people already knew. The group broke up in 94, reunited in 98, released an album that did absolutely nothing, had plans for another one in 2005, but sadly one member, David Townsend, he passed away, and they said, nope, we're done. No more band that time. So, meanwhile, songs that did not go to number one that were on the chart that week, Celine Dion's Where Does My Heart Beat Now, which I would argue is a better song. Chris Isaac's Wicked Game, never got to number one. And another Bad Creation's Aisha. All right, much better song.
No way.
Okay? You think that's not a better song than The First Time by Surface? At least that song's
It's a funner
fun.
song.
It's
Yeah, it is a
fun.
funner song.
So, well, I got a fun fact for you. Surface recorded this song in a garage, which sounds about right. That's what it feels like. They hooked up all the instruments to a truck, brought a microphone out of the truck, and laid down this sick beat, Rob. They just threw it together.
Sick beat.
And then they let it fester for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then they
It's
were
like a
like,
fine wine.
you know what they need now? The First Time.
The first.
Yeah, went to number one for 2 weeks.
It's ready.
So,
The world's ready for it.
explain away, Rob. How do you explain this being number
so,
one?
this-
First, time out.
Yeah.
How did you actually feel about the song?
I don't mind this song.
okay.
It's a little sappy for me.
A little bit.
But I had not heard that fact about it coming out in 86.
No.
That fits now.
Recorded in 86.
Yeah,
yes.
but I can see that.
Gotcha.
So you have a nostalgic theme with lyrics focused on the first love. And that I think listeners want the sentimental, they want the nostalgic, and it's love. So anything with love, nostalgia, sentiment, you're gonna get listeners. It's got a catchy melody. It's smooth. It's got an arrangement that was well suited for radio play and struck a chord with the audiences. It was released at a time when ballads were popular.
Yeah.
Significant airplay. This exposure helped to introduce the song to a wider audience, and the song's release coincided with a period where R&B and soul music were having a resurgence in popularity.
Okay.
And so it kind of hit all the things for being
I just
popular
think-
at the time, and I think
Yeah.
it goes back to that theme where I think at the time, for whatever reason, people wanted things that weren't
Weird.
weren't offensive and
I
weird.
gotcha.
Let's just give me what I want that plays by the rules, and they weren't ready for things to not play by the rules.
I would just say in 91, you have access to Boys to Men and some other actual good R&B groups and songs. So landing on Surface feels rough.
I remember the first
you know.
time hearing Boys to Men.
Yeah.
You bring it out, I go, what the heck is this?
It was better. It was different. It sounded
This was
better.
cool, right? Yeah. And
Again, this just seems generic to
yeah,
me.
absolutely. And for whatever reason,
look,
people wanted generic.
I don't 100% even hate it. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's a little sappy. My argument or what I contest here is, why is this number one?
I agree.
It's not that
Because Chris Isaac's
Wicked Game, much better.
It's not even my favorite song, but it's just a better written song. Yeah.
But if you told me this was top 40, top 30, I could
number
digest
one.
that. But number one for 2 weeks. Not just a random, okay, it got to the top
so
and
Chris
got out.
Isaac's
2 weeks.
Wicked Game never even made it to number
Didn't
one?
make it to number one.
See, that's wrong.
Hung out in the top 10 for a little while.
Yeah,
but
that's wrong.
couldn't climb. So, all right, well, we are going to our number 9 song. This song has graced our podcast before, but it's so stupid and bad. It deserves what I think is a second look.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, that's right.
This song was really popular.
Boom, boom, boom.
And after all that we have been through,
You talk about the little button on
No, I'm aware.
the keyboard.
I'm waiting for like a dog to bark or something.
the Casio. This is it.
What's that? Make a fart noise.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, burp, burp.
didn't know how much
I loved you.
This is another one. If you told me he recorded it in a garage, I'd go, yeah, that tracks.
let me put my arms around you. Living all these lonely
My favorite part of this
It's
is the cover of the album. It's really bad.
Is it the one that I'm looking at with the turtleneck and the jacket?
Yeah, and he's got his hair, his weird hair.
Bangs in his
Yes.
face.
It looks like a wig.
I don't even enjoy re-listening to this song.
It's really not a good song.
I'm sure that drives. Okay, we're in the nostalgia business, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that just drives nostalgia for people. I just don't understand with all the access to songs in the '90s.
I don't know.
And I'm not on anyone that this is their song. If this is your song, cool. It just shouldn't be a number one song. So this is so bad. In fact, I featured on my worst songs list from 1990 to 1992. Yet somehow it hit number one on March 23rd, 1991, dethroning Mariah Carey's "Someday." Yes. Timmy T dethroned Mariah Carey. You do with that what you will. I don't know. If that wasn't wild enough, it also went to number one in the Netherlands. But let's not forget, drugs are legal there. So maybe they didn't hear it right the first time.
Yes.
Maybe they were eating some brownies and they're
That's
like, hey,
right.
this isn't bad. So, well, shocker, this song was inspired by a breakup with a girlfriend. What's truly mind-blowing, though, is that it finished as the number 5 single for all of 1991, ahead of classics like Motown Philly, Right Here, Right Now by Jesus Jones, Losing My Religion, and Joyride. Finished the year ahead of all those songs.
I don't understand.
Who is Timmy T, you ask? Well, his name is Timmy Torres, a guy who pretty much came out of nowhere. No big marketing push, no corporate machine. He wasn't even signed to a label. Timmy T worked as a kid's birthday party entertainer, which this starts to make more sense now. And he even hosted his own kids show in Fresno, California called Herman and the Little People, which, despite my best efforts, I could not find anything on YouTube or
Herman
online.
and the Little People.
Yes, Herman and the Little People. So he recorded one more try in a garage for $200, which explains basically how it sounds. So many critics expressed shock that this went to number one, and frankly, that's where we are today. Timmy's vocals, not great. The lyrics, let's just say they sound like they were written by a middle schooler. Here's a sample. It's been a long time since I've kissed you. It always used to feel so good. And if you knew how much I missed you, you'd forgive me if you could.
Oh, that's poetry.
That's rough. All right. So
That is
that's
poetry.
not exactly Lennon McCartney level songwriting there. So of all the songs we've talked about today, this one baffles me the most on how it got to number one. So meanwhile, songs on the chart that week that never got to number one. One of your favorites, I Touch Myself by the Divinyls.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, Don't Treat Me Bad by Firehouse.
Oh.
And the one that should have been number one, this is offensive actually, She Talks to Angels by the Black Crows.
See? No,
but
that I
Timmy
don't
T
understand.
got up there. So,
Yeah.
so Rob, give me your take. Timmy T, what do you got?
I'm going to go, again, relatable lyrics. So it's about heartbreak, longing for lost love, especially in the 90s. 90s, we're loving that stuff. We're loving the ballads and the lost love and the first loves. Catchy melodies, simple arrangements, easy to remember and sing along to. His story of unexpected success, I think maybe it was something that drove it because he was an independent artist. He didn't have a label backing. So him to make it, he topped the Billboard Top 100, which is a rare achievement for an unsigned artist at the time. And then again, timing. So he had ballads were popular on the radio. The emotional tone aligned with the trends of the era. So we were liking that at the time. I say globally, we.
No, we're part of the we.
I know.
We're part of the
But
machine.
I don't remember liking this song, but I
don't either.
Probably
Yeah.
did. I don't know.
It feels like they would have played it during the prom episode.
This is a dance. Yeah, this is
on
a dance
90210.
song.
They would have played it during that
Yeah.
show, or maybe Saved by the Bell. It could have been in the background while Zach and
Just
Kelly
caught
were
some
dancing.
Dave by the Bell the other day.
Oh man, that's great. So, well, I got a fun fact for you. Timmy T is apparently Batman now. On his Instagram and YouTube channel, he shows himself riding around Fresno on a Segway, catching footage of people breaking the law. So if you're looking to shoplift in Fresno, Timmy T may not give you any more tries. All right. So,
Wow.
yeah, he literally sends stuff to the cops of people shoplifting or breaking into cars. He just apparently rides around on a Segway doing this.
So this song did well for him.
So Timmy T has become
it bought him a Segway.
He's become a vigilante.
Wow.
So wait, real quick. When we came into the studio today, it's gotten a little chilly up here in the Northwest, and our studio was a little cold.
Yeah.
And we cranked the heat. I think we've cranked the heat enough at this point. So
Do you want me to turn the heat off?
it would be appreciated, yes. So I think I'm getting too fired up over these songs, so it's starting to drive the heat in the studio. So I think the heat from the heat from these bangers is really
something.
It's doing
It's
something.
something.
So, all right, we go to number 8.
Number 8.
An artist that I'm just not a fan of, but again, I'm convinced.
Oh, yes.
I'm convinced prior fame drove some of this success.
Searching what to believe, coming out of the dark. I finally see the light now, and it shines.
It's like she's got a whole choir with her.
That's something. Are you in on Gloria Estefan?
I cannot do the Gloria Estefan.
Estefan?
She's not my favorite.
No, I just don't. And no shame against anybody that likes her. I just don't like her sound.
No, I never got into her. No.
Another kind of slow, sappy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our rhythm today.
Yeah.
Considering the kind of music I guess we like, it tracks and all this. So, well, this is Coming Out of the Dark by Gloria
Estefan.
There she is. Sorry, but this is just not a good song.
What year was this?
There's nothing. I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe this hit number one because of her reputation. That's my guess. Now, I'm no Estefan super fan, but this song took the top spot on March 30th, 1991, dethroning none other than musical titan Timmy T.
Wow,
Right?
they are battling at the
what
top.
a brutal 2 weeks on the Billboard charts. We go from Timmy T to Gloria Estefan. There was nothing else going on there. All right, so scratch that. It was actually 3 weeks of pain because this song spent 2 consecutive weeks at number one, beating out the likes of Wilson Phillips, Amy Grant, Mariah Carey, and CNC Music Factory. All right, that's a crime against music right there. So now I get it. The song came from it's got a story. But I don't think everybody knew the story, but I found a story. It comes from a very personal place. Gloria was in a horrible accident where her tour bus crashed. She fractured her spine and had to get 2 titanium rods put into her spine. The song is about her recovery and comeback. The idea actually came from her husband while they were being airlifted to the hospital when a beam of light, this is a ridiculous story, a beam of light hit his face and boom, inspiration struck. Like the beam of light hit his face, he goes, Gloria, I have a song.
So while she's
Song for you. While she's dying,
her
back
spine
is broken.
is snapped, and he's like, "I've got
Beam
an
of light.
idea. Write this down.
You know, I imagine that beam of light
Do you
hitting
have
him
a pen?
on the face.
Write this down.
Yeah, I imagine that beam of light hitting him on the face, like when Poe comes out of the bus from
He's
prison.
all slow,
Just
looking into the.
So,
yeah.
all right, the run redeeming quality here. It was co-written with John Cicada. So as long as we got Cicada in here,
That's
Cicada,
right.
whatever you want to call him, bless him. He did everything he could, but even adding his vocals in the background, which are there,
Yeah.
let's be real, not even John could save this ballad. So it's no surprise the early 90s were all about ballads for Gloria. She had also number one hits. Don't Want to Lose You. I don't know if you remember that, but Don't Want to Lose You.
Oh, I did, yeah.
And Anything for You. Also.
Okay.
Number one hits. She had 3 number one hits
So she was all over
in
the
the
place.
90s. So the Orlando Sentinel politely said it has a pretty vocal, but the melody feels like it belongs in a Kodak commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. But hey, Gloria doesn't care what I think or what you think or what the Orlando Sentinel thinks. She's got a Presidential Medal of Freedom, a Kennedy Center honor, and her own Broadway show. So I think she's doing fine.
She's doing very
She's not
well.
worried about when she tunes into this, she'll
gonna
go,
go,
you can come after me if you want, Dave and Rob. But I'm okay because I do imagine she's listening to this. But seriously, with all the great
Take
music
your
at the
little
time,
podcast and-
this was a number one hit. Something on the charts that week that never got to number one.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis by Mark Cohn.
I'll see that is a good
That
song.
never got to number one. Didn't even crack the top 10. So let's
People
go.
weren't ready for it.
So you get to
All right.
get on the stump
So-
and defend Gloria Estefan.
Personal significance.
Why did America love this song?
Personal significance. She's got that bus accident, nearly paralyzed her.
Do you think everyone knew about that?
Fans resonated with her. She's on Good Morning America with Joan London, and she's I don't know. I think she was there at the time.
I think Katie Couric had show up.
I don't know.
if John
Anyway,
Lennon was still doing.
empowering lyrics. It to me this is kind of in a category of like a Bette Midler song, right?
Perfectly
Like we're like
classified.
so it's
Yes.
empowering. It's gospel inspired. It's hope. It's got hope, inspiration, comfort, encouragement. Then you got her a powerful and emotional vocal delivery. She's got depth, and it kind of brings home her feelings and her experiences. The fact you mentioned it, she was already kind of a rising star.
No.
She already had that going. So people are like, oh, we like this gal. Her personal
good
story
Dago.
added to it, and then the song's production and arrangement were well crafted. So you've got the choir in the back.
I disagree.
I mean,
again. I don't think it's well crafted. I again
it
think it
had
just
all the
sounds.
things. It was a big song. It filled the room, and it
I think it sounds
lifted
cookie
you
cutter.
up.
Yeah.
Lifted you up.
And if you listen to her other 2 number ones, you can't tell me those 3 songs aren't the same song, just changing lyrics. So okay, well,
It's what we wanted in. What year did that come out?
91.
91. There you go. See,
I didn't want that in 91. I was there.
yeah.
I was in 91. I was not asking for Gloria
You
Estefan.
didn't want to come out of the dark?
I didn't want to come out of the dark. Do you now? Let's.
This would have been a good warm-up for the-
What's Rob's true feelings of the song?
I don't like it.
Okay, yeah, there we go. It's not. Have you been?
I was not uplifted or
Have you been
empowered.
rolling this playlist in the car while you've been driving?
I listened to it at work.
Wow,
I haven't.
did it put you to sleep? Parts of this probably put you to sleep.
Yeah, I kind of fast forward through some of it.
No, we can't fast forward it. That's not good research. All right, that takes us to number 7. One of your favorite artists.
Ooh.
One of both of our favorite artists.
Oh, this song is so strange. I have weird feelings about this.
I imagine you do. It's interesting because I think it has elements of things you like,
That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
but it's not a good song.
Get on time. You will cop?
Yep.
Okay.
I looked up the lyrics. That's what it says.
Like that's what he came up with? Shaboogie Bop?
Boogie Bop.
Okay.
Is that what we wanted in 1991?
Apparently.
Is that what we were looking for?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
What does that even mean?
another case like Gloria Estefan, I think the artist popularity gives it the boost. This is Cream by Prince and the New Power Generation. Hit number 1 on November 9th, 1991. Stayed there for 2 weeks. Surprisingly, this would be Prince's last number 1 hit on the U.S. Hot 100. And unlike some of the other questionable number 1s we've covered, this was a global smash. Top 10 just about everywhere I could find it. So everybody seemed to like Kareem for whatever reason. So let's see. The kicker, co-written by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Nope. That's not true. Prince did it all on his own. Sorry for the mix-up. It just sounded like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis would have been involved, but they were not. So I thought this was a funny song when I was younger. It was a little catchy, but not exactly something you'd expect to be a number 1 hit.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like I thought it was a silly song, actually. Like a couple of these songs, like this one, and then Get Off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I was wrong.
Yeah, that whole-
Apparently, we all got bamboozled into thinking Shaboogie Bop could be the soundtrack to our lives, Rob. So there you go. Seriously, Shaboogie Bop. That got sung. That should have disqualified it from number 1 right there. When he uttered this phrase, Shaboogie Bop, you're not going to number 1.
the second line, though, is just, you will cop.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. So
That doesn't make, I don't think
doesn't
that
make any sense.
I don't think it makes any
I'm
sense.
sure it means something. So, well, we referred to a minute ago. I kind of liked Get Off. It was cool, kind of risque, but Cream feels like Prince is trying to be sexy while accidentally coming off corny.
I
Like,
don't
because
know.
the Shaboogie Bop thing and all that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got the horn, so why don't you blow it? I'm not sure if that's Prince at his lyrical best, but I'm just going to put that. Musically, there's a cowbell, some bluesy guitar, and
Yeah.
Prince either sighing, whispering, or groaning every other second. He doesn't even really sing the whole time. It's just a lot.
Did
They
you watch the
recorded
video?
I did.
Yeah.
They recorded the song while on tour in Europe, and on off days, Prince would book local studios for jam sessions, which is how Cream was born. But honestly, the whole thing feels more like a cheesy nostalgia trip than a timeless classic. It's not that great.
No.
Songs on the Hot 100 that same week that never hit number 1 that are way better than Cream. OPP by Naughty by Nature.
Yeah.
Don't Cry by Guns N' Roses.
Oh, boy.
And Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Oh, boy.
All those tracks, I would say, are still legendary and have way more staying power in pop culture today than Cream has ever had. So, Rob, as a Prince enthusiast,
Wow.
why do you think of all the songs he had going on in the 90s?
And I always wanted to like Prince.
Yeah.
And I tried. The Purple Rain.
I think
Is
your
it?
argument, I think your
Is it?
argument's going to come that because Bat Dance was so good.
Yeah. That's what it was. I
Off
like
the
Band
heels
Dance.
of Bat Dance, he was able to ride Cream.
Vicky Vale.
He was
Vicky Vale.
able to ride
Yeah.
Cream to the top.
No.
It rose to the top,
Oh, that's
Rob.
bad.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think it went to number 1 because
He's Prince.
he's Prince. But then he had a unique blend of funk, R&B, and rock and roll.
Okay.
He had an innovative approach to music. It was memorable and easy to sing along to. The lyrics had some innuendo, sexual tension.
Yes.
He had the ability to write suggestive yet empowering songs. The production was he did have at the time. This was his Power Generation time, and I saw an interview once that he said that was his best band that he ever put together.
All right.
It was well balanced mix. Had a driving beat, so it kept listeners engaged. And the had a video that was striking and had lots of sensual themes. And I watched it, and everybody's licking cream off each other's fingers.
Very good.
We're sticking our fingers in each other's mouths, and
Everything you said is right.
yeah,
Shouldn't be number 1.
Yeah, but then when you
I add
reach
all those
Enter
things up-
Sandman and you said, "Don't cry,"
Don't cry.
holy cow,
Yeah.
those are number ones.
OPP was everywhere.
Yeah.
However you want to feel about OPP.
But even
like-
as a rap classic, that's a rap.
If you talk to people from the 90s and you went, hey, OPP? Oh, yeah. Remember Cream from Prince? Maybe. Like that. I don't know. That's not as good.
I never understood that whole Prince thing. Everybody,
No, not good.
I don't think he ever saw his potential. He could have done some really good stuff.
I think there's an argument that we're way off base here. Prince was quite successful, but that's okay.
I know.
So
I don't know why.
he's
though.
just not our cup of tea.
No, he's-
So I'm sure our friends over on Pop Culture Yearbook, they're from the Minnesota.
Oh, and they
So
probably
big
yeah.
Prince fans.
They might.
I've
I
never-
don't think they are.
I've never had
no,
that.
no, because they're
discussion.
like REM fans.
They are.
So how are they? How are REM fans?
They're well rounded. Unlike you and I, we're not as well rounded.
I don't think so.
Although I'm making the argument that I don't like this Prince song, and I've been on staunch on this podcast that I like the Heights. How do you talk to an angel? So we're
all right.
we're
This
flipping
is-
we're flipping
this
weird
is
quarters
true.
here.
This
So
is true.
It's just what you like, Rob.
This is true.
What you don't like. All right. Well, after we're gonna go to number 6. After
Ooh.
America finished its Cream and Prince phase,
Yeah.
they decided for no apparent reason to hand the top spot to this guy who sent the new power generation packing right back to Minneapolis.
Yeah. There he is.
He's got the hair.
I will have to tell you.
No, you won't. If you're coming in defense here, I'm going to be
I'm gonna say if
shocked.
you get to glom on to Michael McDonald, I'll take a Michael Bolton.
That is not comparable, and you know that's not comparable. This is just
Listen to that voice.
this is schlock. Michael McDonald has soul in his voice.
Listen to this guy.
You
Look at
are
that.
listening to this, right?
It's a good song.
You think it's a good song?
It's a cover. It's
I'm
a
gonna-
cover song.
I know what it is. I'm gonna let you.
Right.
Stew on that for a
Right,
minute.
okay.
So, all right, this is "When a Man Loves a Woman" by the one and only Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
This song hit
Got
number
the
1
hair.
November 23rd, 1991 for 1 week. When you combine it with Cream, gives us a total of 3 weeks of musical confusion at the top of the charts.
Can you imagine that conversation in the car when you're going on the road and turn that up.
Turn that up.
It's that Michael Bolton song.
Well, let's not forget, for 3 weeks, Timmy T and Gloria Estefan also had the crown. So that's a grand total of 6 weeks of crap in 1991 on the Billboard Hot 100. Those 4 songs.
See,
get into
this
number
is
one.
why when grunge hit, people their minds
We're blown.
like fell out of their nose.
So you think Timmy T and them were part of the problem?
I
They're what
absolutely.
did.
We just
Okay.
set it up.
All right. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy some Michael Bolton, especially for a laugh, like how they roast him in Office Space. But as a high school sophomore in 91, this was not what my teenage heart was craving. And I probably wasn't the target audience for this song. So there you go. To start, it's a cover of a Percy Sledge classic, as you
Yeah.
said, from 1966. And I hate to say it, but Percy puts a little more soul into it than
I
Mr.
would
Bolton.
agree.
Mr. Bolton, very generic, I think. He delivers a straight-up early 90s ballad, which does not sound as good. It gets worse. Bolton won a Grammy for this rendition
Whoa.
for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance, beating out your boy B.A. with the Robin Hood song, along with Walking in Memphis, Freedom 90, terrible. Terrible that beat that out.
Yeah.
And Crazy by Seal. I mean, come on. All of those tracks are way better, and Freedom 90 should have taken that trophy home without even breaking a sweat. All right. And I'm saying the BA song was better than this. All right. So I'm just throwing that out there, and it was. So
Wow.
all right. Backstory is that Michael wanted to do another cover, and Tommy Mottola, yes, the former Mr. Mariah Carey, suggested this gem. Bolton was all in, saying that's the one I wanted to do. Clearly, it was a match made in Billboard heaven. They recorded this masterpiece with Toto's drummer, Jeff Porcaro. And
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. And future American Idol judge, slapping the bass man, Randy Jackson.
Slapping
all right,
the bass
because
man.
you don't. If you get Randy Jackson, you don't get Randy Jackson's autograph. That's the way it works.
That's right.
On a samurai sword. So here's the thing: all those songs I mentioned earlier that didn't hit number 1. How on earth did this one get there?
Yeah.
Right? It makes no sense. So I'd love to know who was requesting and buying this in such a pace that it shot to the top of the Billboard charts. The
Yeah.
Casey Kasem got to go at number 1 this week. Michael Bolton, When a Man Loves a Woman.
Well,
Because
and
this sounds more like a dedication song than a number 1 song. But
Well,
that's
and
fine.
then the Grammy Selection Committee.
Yeah.
Wait.
They had all those songs in front of them, and they're like, it's
You
Michael Bolton,
guys.
guys.
You guys.
They had to all be 73
Yeah.
years old. this sounds really good. I like it. It's nice and
like it.
easy.
Yes.
I like easy listening.
It doesn't hurt my ears like that rock music.
Did you hear that Toto guy's on this track? I like Toto.
Oh, I like that Picaro guy.
All right, so there we go.
Anyway, it's got emotional resonance. The lyrics, again, that express deep love and devotion. The listeners relate to the powerful emotions that he portrayed, right? It's soulful, passionate, perfectly captures the song's emotional intensity, and it's a very memorable performance by Mr. Bolton.
Mr. Bolt.
Ballads were popular again. We're talking 1991. Bolton was hot in 1991.
Yeah.
And then this song appeared in films and television. So it had a cultural, it ran through the cultural landscape. It wasn't just a song.
Again.
So, and it was, like I said, Grammy. It hit all the boxes.
I guess.
For what we wanted in 91.
Best male vocal performance.
In
For
1991.
that song.
Yeah.
All right.
It rocked 1991's world. They're like, this is, this guy's voice is.
I got some fun fact for you here.
butter.
Bolton performed this song at the 92 Grammy Awards alongside Kenny G on saxophone. That's an overload of white guy long permed hair for one song. Honestly, it doesn't get any more 90s white suburban people than Michael Bolton and Kenny G together.
Yeah.
If they could have just got John Tesh on stage, I think Middle America's heads would have exploded.
That's right.
They'd have been like, oh my God.
Get the Eagles doing a little backup
Oh
band
my
on
goodness!
there.
Oh, it's out of control. All right. Well, our number 5 song. This is actually the catchiest of mine. This surprisingly to me, catchy song. I just still scratch my head. I'm not questioning the catchiness of it. Just why is it number 1?
There it is. From the beginning.
I did get tired of this song.
Yeah.
Because they did play it a lot. Do you think anybody in high school and college, like, hey, we're running to Taco Bell, you jump in the car, and this comes on the Pioneer?
You turn it up.
No. Does anybody have this playing?
Sure.
No, I don't think so.
Strictly for the bass factor. Oh, no, we don't die.
Talked about how much great music was in 94. Yeah. Someone got in their Tercel and said,
heck yeah.
Hey guys, have you heard the new Aini Kamosi?
Yeah, no. Uh-oh.
Cha-cha-chang chang.
There you go. See, everybody knows
Murderer. No, I'm not saying you don't know it.
Great.
I'm just saying who was listening to this in 94. All right. For the longest time, I thought this guy was part of, this is Here Comes the Hot Stepper by Aini Kamosi. I thought this guy was I thought this was a group. And I thought it was the same group, the Cops theme song.
I probably thought the same thing.
But surprise, it is not. Those are two totally different acts. And in fact, this isn't even a group. Aini Kamosi's
just a guy,
a single artist. Yeah. So this hit number 1, December 17th, 1994, held the spot for 2 weeks before Boyz II Men swooped in after Christmas to reclaim the throne. Thanks for that early Christmas gift there, Santa. Aini Kamosi was very happy. He's a Jamaican dancehall artist, and this track samples everything from Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick to the Beatles and Chuck Berry. So let's say originality isn't exactly the strong suit for this song. In 2005, Blender ranked this as the 492nd best song since you were born. Oh my good. That's a dubious honor. And Billboard included it in their top list of the best songs of the 90s. Okay. Again, I'm not sure. When Aini hit number 1, he interrupted Boyz II Men's epic 16-week reign, which included I'll Make Love to You for 14 weeks and On Bended Knee for 2 weeks. So they slid in for 2 weeks. The other 16 weeks, all Boyz II Men. So Aini was basically the fly in their ointment. Otherwise, they'd have run the whole back half of 1994. Lyrics are very much a product of the 90s, mentioning everything from I Know What Bo Don't Know to Daddy of the Mac Daddy. Little shout out to our friends at Crisscross. And they do some shout outs for the show In Living Color. So they made themselves pop relevant, or pop culture relevant, I guess. So this was the only hit in the top 40 for Aini Kamosi. He wasn't even signed to a label, and he got dropped after this song. So good on you. Get it number 1, you're out. In a 4-month window where Boyz II Men was dominating the charts, why did America take a collective sigh and go, I'm tired of those smooth harmonies from those guys.
Right.
I need a catchy tune from Aini Kamosi. So I guess the top 10 at the time wasn't exactly killer. Now, I will say this time, These are some of the artists in the top 10 that didn't get to number one, but I don't think they had to fight a bunch. Bon Jovi in 94, that's not real great. Madonna in 94 is not really killing it. TLC, all right, not too bad. And then Sheryl Crow, I mean, she's doing pretty well, but maybe they just hit at the right time for this. But Aini Kamosi, I think it's catchy. I get tired of it. I can only listen to it once in a while.
This is 94?
94. And again, I'm not questioning that it's not a catchy, fun song. Just should it have been number one in the entire country? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But the only thing, okay, so I got, it's got an infectious beat, memorable melody, easy to dance to, easy to sing to, the iconic na 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 na, right? Blended elements of reggae, dancehall, and hip hop, exciting sound that appealed to a wide audience. The song's release coincided with a period when dancehall and hip hop were gaining popularity. It's got some pop culture references. You mentioned that. Significant radio airplay. Featured in a film that I did not know. And then the music video was had a big music video that was popular, apparently. I watched it. I didn't think anything was cool about it. It's just him walking around.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's, I think that kind of goes back to what we're saying. It was different.
Yep.
Than what people were listening to.
Definitely different.
So it came in for a little bit, and then, like you said, then Boys II Men closed back.
Just took it right back over. Yeah. And then they kept on going into 95, by the way. So
because I think 94, you go mid 90s and on. I think people's music changed.
But again, we've talked
changing
about
our tastes.
how so much good music came out in 94. So for this to be at the top, when I could go find you 50 songs better than this, it just baffles my brain.
I know.
He sold enough albums to be number one for 2 weeks. Again, 2 weeks, not just 1 week. Not a shot, not like one of those one-off things. 2 straight weeks, everyone's
Best
like
2 weeks of his life.
All right.
Best 2 weeks of his life.
All right, this takes us to number 4. Of all the songs on this list, this is the one I dislike the most.
Really?
Even more than Timmy T
Wow.
and freaking Tommy Page.
I like this one. It's not my favorite one on the list.
This is terrible.
She's really wrong.
Bryan Adams was sitting in the studio one day. You know what I need to do? Spanish guitar. That's
right.
what I need.
He was inspired after one of his partying times with the crew.
With the crew, yeah. Hanging out with Motley Crue, yeah. I just, you know what my sound could really use? Spanish
Some
guitar.
flamenco guitar.
Can I get a mariachi band back here?
We can do that, Mr.
Bryan,
Adams.
be like, Bryan, I feel like you're trying too hard. No, just do it.
No, step away.
Have you ever really, 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 really loved a woman? He really wants to like push that home.
I don't know.
Really, really.
Well, he really wants you to think about it.
It reminds me
to reflect.
Yeah, I strenuously object. That's what it reminds me of. So, all right, this is "Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman" by fan of the show, longtime friend of the show, Bryan Adams, everyone's favorite BA. This song hit number 1 on June 3rd, 1995. Somehow, unbelievably, stayed there for 5 weeks.
Wow.
That is insane.
People liked it.
How does that even happen? It was part of the 1990 film Don Juan de Marco.
And
even got nominated for an Academy Award, only to lose to a Pocahontas song that's also pretty bad. So, maybe it's just my age in 95, but the fact that this song reigned at number 1 in 6 other countries is nothing short of insane. There was so much better music out at the time. This was Adams' 4th and final number 1 hit, and thank goodness he didn't try to belt it out in a fake Spanish accent. Although the Spanish guitar somehow manages to make it even worse on re-listen. It's not good. At some point, it seems like BA thought, forget my usual hits. I'm just going to sing cheesy ballads for silly movies, and I'm going to ride that wave and see how far it goes.
Yeah.
So, his number 1 hits include gems like Everything I Do For You, Robin Hood, All for Love, The Three Musketeers, and Heaven, which was in the 1983 classic A Night in Heaven. So there's clearly a trend here. I'm just going to write sappy ballads for movies. So, and can we talk about the lyrics, as I said? You got to breathe her, really taste her. What does that even mean? And how about this gem? You can see your unborn children in her eyes. Again, we're talking red flags here. Women are running away from you. So that is genuine psycho sounding stuff. So I don't know how anyone finds this romantic. If you were listening to this and you're like, oh, put on Bryan Adams. So while Bryan was busy holding the top spot for 5 weeks, we had some much better music going on right below him that couldn't climb up there. So Hootie's Let Her Cry. Dr. Dre's Keep Their Heads Ringing, which is a slept-on great rap song from the movie Friday soundtrack. December by Collective Soul. and Big Papa by Notorious B.I.G. All superior to B.A. So I have to ask you, although I already know what's going to happen here, how did this get to number one? And why is Bryan Adams even getting songs on the radio in 1995?
Well, he was on the way out, as we can
guess.
see. But anyway, so you got themes of love, passion, vulnerability, powerful vocals, an emotional delivery, catchy melody, distinctive guitar riff. It's easy to remember, easy to sing along to. It was featured in a film, so you got the film vehicle to help it along. At the time, Bryan Adams was a well-established rock star. He had a loyal fan base. He was at the height of his zenith of his career. And then he had production and arrangement. So you had the song's production. You had flamenco guitar.
It sucks.
It was unique and an exotic sound that was different from other songs on the radio at the time.
I don't like it. So
there you go.
You're not going to convince me.
Yeah.
So this should not have been number one. Okay.
It's not my favorite Bryan
Again,
Adams song.
if this hovered around
pretty song.
68, I'm fine, right? 67, 68, good. All right. I do have some information for you, though. This was Bryan's third Oscar nomination, but thankfully for all of us out here that don't think B.A. is quite the talented man he believes himself to be, he has no wins, as Phil Collins laughs heartily in a corner and just stares and points at him. So B.A. has lost to Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, and Evita.
Oh.
So yeah, he's had a tough road to
poor
go.
guy.
I mean, he had to go up against Peebo, Vanessa Williams, and Madonna. He's got no chance.
You can't
He's
win
out.
that.
See you later. So, all right. Well, let's leave BA where he needs to stay in 1995. Move on to our number 3 song. This hit number 1 May 24th, 1997, and stayed there for 3 weeks.
I was going to ask.
Tell me who will still care. Tell me who will still care. Oh, okay.
3 weeks at number 1? What's going on in 97 that everyone's like, mbop?
This is a song I never got
Can't understand it.
I never understood the draw.
Even the first time you hear it, I don't go, oh, I kind of like that. There's nothing inviting about it. The video makes it worse. I mean, there's kids. I'm trying not to be hard on them, but yeah, I don't know. I never understood this one. This one definitely.
I don't know.
This one definitely confused me, but it's late 90s. What are you going to do? So I'd say this is one of the earworms of the 90s. You either love it, absolutely hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't despise it. I just don't need to listen to it that often. So 3 weeks, Rob. Wow, 3 weeks at number 1. So this is Mbop by Hanson. I get the nostalgia and silliness of it, but honestly, I have never really liked it. If it comes on, I'm not going to throw a tantrum, but I'm not going to seek it out. I'm not going to turn it up.
No.
And I don't normally sing along. It's been dubbed as one of the catchiest songs ever, and let's give credit where it's due. It was produced by the Dust Brothers, the same geniuses behind the Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique, and Beck's Odelay. How did that happen? All right. You made 2 great albums and then you threw Mbop together. I'm confused. So that's a big musical shift for the Dust Brothers. This song pops up on all sorts of lists celebrating the best of the 90s, which I don't understand. It was nominated for 2 Grammys, but walked away empty-handed, which seems like a win to me. So I must be in the minority here, though, because Mbop topped the charts in 14 other countries and hit the top 5 in 7 other countries. Clearly, I'm just out of touch with 90s vibe by 97. I don't know what's going on. This song feels like the ultimate manufactured pop concoction. Toss in 3 cute kids, stir, number 1 hit. That's what you get, right? So it feels more like, it feels more produced and catchy than it is an actually good song. So, but maybe that's why it never resonated with me. I was also 21 in 97, so I definitely wasn't in any kind of headspace to listen to Hanson. I had actual grown-up things to do. I don't have time to be listening to the 12-year-olds singing. So during the 3 weeks, this was number 1. Plenty of other songs on the Hot 100 that never got there and deserved a shot. In Vogue had a song, Jewel, Sheryl Crow, Luscious Jackson, and my one and only Keith Sweat. I mean, all of them had tracks that were way better and didn't even sniff the top.
Does it say what song Luscious Jackson had?
It was the
Naked Eye.
Naked Eye.
Ah,
Yep,
see, that's a
the
great
one.
song.
Great song.
Way better song.
Enlighten us. Why do you think a group of 9 to 12-year-olds was able to grab the imaginations of America and say, we're going to be number 1 for almost an entire month, right in the middle of the 90s hip-hop boom? I mean, 97's big hip-hop time frame.
Yeah, I got to go with catchy melody and lyrics. So you got infectious melody, simple yet relatable lyrics. But I argue that because I didn't really know the lyrics for a long time, and then I finally read them. And
They're not that good.
No, they're not that good. And they're not super uplifting either. It's kind of a sad song. Repetitive chorus, memorable tune, easy to sing along to. Then you got the youthful appeal. So you got Hanson, a trio of brothers. Again, I liked your little analogy of take 3 young kids, cute little blondie, put them in a band and market them, and you're good. You're right. So that you connected with the younger demographic. Then you capture timing and marketing. So you got capturing the attention of the music industry and audiences. You got effective marketing campaigns, radio everywhere. And you got the video generation. So you're everywhere there. For many, Mbop is a nostalgic reminder of their youth. People associate with a specific time and cultural trends. And it's a 90s staple. So
I guess, yeah.
But I never understood
90s staple's
it.
Tough.
I don't know.
90s staple. I just, again...
People say it's the best of the 90s.
You're climbing in your truck, heading to class at Clackamas Community College.
But see, this is 97, I'm still at home. I'm turning this off.
Is Hanson coming on in the truck on the ride? And if it hits the radio, what happens?
I'm turning it off.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I just don't.
Well, it wouldn't have been on I'm listening to 94.7.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not listening to.
So I guess the youth again, and this got some. I don't even know if it got MTV airplay as much as like VH1.
I don't know.
This feels more VH1-ish than it feels MTV-ish. But the point is somebody was buying this album.
Yeah.
I don't know who was buying it. I'd like to meet the folks that were buying. If you were buying it, email the show. Let us know. Hey, Ed Hanson. I saw him at Red Rocks.
I don't know.
Saw him. Somebody out there's like, I saw him at Red Rocks in Colorado, and it was great. Saw him at the Gorge. They rocked.
They were all like
freaking.
They were all 7.
Smash Mouth opened for him. It was great. That's all 97 you need right there. So
I don't know.
Yep, it's confounding to me.
They're still traveling and playing, and
I understand it being
touring.
a catchy pop song. Again, just not number one. And for 3 weeks, my goodness, what are we doing? All right. There's other options, folks. 97. You could have had other options. So, all right, it takes us to number 2. All right, I'm all about girl groups and women in music, especially in the 90s. I really like them. We've had a whole show on women's rock and girl groups in the 90s, and they've absolute bangers. But let me say that this, I don't believe, is one of those bangers. Again, very generic. Right?
this is the one song on this list. I had not heard this song.
Ever.
No.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. And I kind of like it. I'm shocked that these guys didn't go bigger.
No.
But I can't find anything about them. Like they
didn't do anything.
Their songs you can only find on Spotify. If you want to find this song.
Here's my thing. This is no different than that Sweet Sensation song. Like it's the same. It's like the same context of a song.
Yeah.
There's no originality to it. It doesn't sound like anything. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. And again, this is
it's
not on me.
Cutter,
it's pretty, yeah. So, well, this is Lately by a band called Divine. The song hit number 1 on November 28th, 1998 for a whole week. Bumping out Lauryn Hill's Doo-Wop knocked her off the throne.
No way.
That is a fact. I mean, who in the world is out there requesting, buying, and listening to this over Lauryn Hill's Doo-Wop? Miseducated Lauryn Hill is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest album of all time, or the 90s, and they were able to dethrone Lauryn Hill there. So what's wild about this song is it's basically a U.S. hit only, flopped almost everywhere else. Somehow it managed to wrap up the year as the 31st best song on the Billboard Hot 100 for all of 98, beating out these legendary songs, Scar Tissue, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wow.
It finished the year higher than Doo-Wop, that it replaced at number 1. Mambo number 5, Black Balloon, and Back That Thing Up. That's a head scratcher. It was above all those songs.
Wow.
And most people would tell you they would listen to every one of those other songs long before they listened to Lately.
Well, I had never heard of it.
If you're looking for a number 1 hit that everyone forgot about as soon as it happened, look no further than Divine. The R&B trio behind this gym split up immediately after their debut album dropped, so none of them were around long enough to even become famous. Nobody knows who they are. Good luck finding any juicy details, as you said, about them either. They're just 3 gals from New York and New Jersey who all sound suspiciously alike. Yeah. Like their voices aren't much different than each other. They take turns on lead vocals in this song, and you can't tell who's different or who's singing, so it doesn't really matter. It's like trying to pick your friend out in a crowd of identical twins. It's like it's the same thing over and over again. I can't wrap my head around this. How in 1998, when the R&B and hip-hop scene was bursting with talent, this bland, forgettable tune managed to claim the top spot It's just an unremarkable song. Watching paint dry might be more exciting than listening to Divine.
Yeah, I didn't know that about bumping doo-wop out.
Yeah. But
And
hey,
some of those other songs. That's crazy.
America did disagree with us, or me, because you said you might like it. This song sold over 1 million copies, got certified platinum.
That's all right.
So, Rob,
I am a little shocked that
what is your belief that this got to number one?
It's, again, catchy melody. So you got infectious. It's kind of fit that R&B melody of the time. Soulful vocals. Lyrics explored themes of lost love and longing again. Significant airplay radio. The music video, which featured the groups performing the song in a dreamlike setting, also contributed to its success. I watched the video. I can't tell if they filmed in a swamp or possibly a plantation.
Same thing.
I don't know. But I thought it was an odd filming locale.
Feels the same.
Yeah. But anyway,
I think it's the same location they filmed the Possum Kingdom video.
it's
There
possible.
you go. Toadies.
Yeah,
Toadies.
that's right.
They called the Toadies and said, "Hey, what was that spot you guys filmed at?" And I think that
We know
was
a little
good.
place.
Yeah, just a little spot
yeah.
we know.
No, so I think it kind of fit the R&B vibes of the time. What year was that? What'd you say? 97.
98.
98. Oh,
So-
man. 98.
Oh, yeah. November 98. We're at the end of the year. We're heading towards 99. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of better music on the radio, I think, than that.
Yeah,
So it's interesting. And dethroning doo-wop.
that's crazy.
Who requested that more that week than the other one?
And
that
then it
means
finished the 31st highest song in
of the entire year, of the top 100.
That's nutty.
And you have to realize, for them to get to number one, that means that week they sold more records than Lauryn Hill. They got requested more than Lauryn Hill, and they got
That's
played on the radio
crazy.
more than Lauryn Hill. So I don't know who again was
Man.
pushing the divine,
what's-
machine behind the scenes, but somebody was doing something, because there's no reason for this to have happened otherwise. Right?
That's crazy. Like
don't
an outlier. That's
So-
weird.
All right. So this is our last song. This is it says number one. These numbers were just to keep me in track, but we've made it to the end of the 90s. So I'm going to tell you right now, unlike the others on the list, I understand, I think, why this got to number one.
Sure.
I put it on the list because despite it getting to number one, I just don't like it.
Break out before you get bum rushed at the
Oh, wow.
when I roll into the
Wow.
when I stroll into the
I mean, I feel like at this point after Men in Black stuff, he's not even trying.
No.
Like there's no creativity to this. Is Cisco busy? Is Drew Hill busy?
No.
Is anybody busy? Just put him on the track with me.
love less, kidnap a dime, nothing less. Now I must put his behind to the test, then through the shadows.
This
that's
sounds
fun.
He's not even trying at this point. I mean, it sounds no different than Jiggy with it,
This
than
is
Man in
true.
Black, than Miami. I mean,
Well,
it's
it's
almost all the same beat.
Let's let's take
You
a
know,
movie.
that-
Let's
yeah.
turning it into a really catchy song.
Yeah.
And put a video to it. And we're
All right. Well, everyone that listens to
Step
our
one, step two.
podcast probably knows. This is Wild Wild West by Will Smith featuring Drew Hill, a favorite of yours, and Kool Mo D. Now, am I wrong to say Cisco's a part of Drew Hill?
Yeah, he's the lead singer.
He's the guy.
Yeah,
This is before Thong Song.
This was before Thong Song.
Okay, yeah.
Before he went solo.
I do miss Thong Song.
Yeah,
Dumps like a truck.
Yeah,
All right.
he-
Well,
I owned that.
yeah, everyone owned that one. We'll talk about that at a later date. So it hit the top. Doesn't mean I have to like it, though. Number one on July 24th, 1999, right in the middle of the summer. Hit for 1 week. 99 was the year for radio pop and TRL tunes, and it felt like every teenager with a flip phone and a penchant for Frosted Tips was willing to vote for this song and put it at number one. So I think if they actually listened to it, they would have gone, this isn't a good song. But just because it's Will Smith and it's attached to a movie, I think it rocketed up. So this song checks all the boxes for a pop hit with a side of hip hop, but honestly, it's just not. It looks flashy, but it just leaves you like it's not a good song. Like on the surface, you're like, oh, big pop song. It's got multiple people in it, and then you actually listen to it, you're like, this isn't very good. So you can hear Will Smith thinking, hey, I'm Will Smith. I can just do whatever I want.
That's right.
At this point, if I touch it, it's going to turn to gold. Go to number one. It'll sell 1 million copies. I don't even, let's just, I'm just going to take. What do we have for Men in Black? Let's speed it up a little. Let's get Cisco in here.
change
This
this
is
word.
easy.
Yeah.
So, Wild Wild West samples Stevie Wonder's classic "I Wish." Talk about a power move, but it got nominated for a Grammy for Best Rap Solo Performance. Thankfully, losing to Eminem's "My Name Is," which is much superior song. So, looking back at how music evolved from the start of the '90s to the end, this track sounds like it got stuck kind of in a time warp and came out a little. I don't like it. It's all flashy. It's very flashy.
Yeah.
Catchy beats, I'll give you that, but there's again the lyrics, the sound is generic. It topped the charts for 1 week, so I think that kind of told you how much everybody actually liked it. But I think Will Smith's charming persona just propelled it to the top.
Absolutely.
It's one of those, if I record a song, it's just going to go right now. Doesn't matter how it sounds. Yeah. So,
yeah,
have you ever been at a party and anybody busted out Wild Wild West?
It's funny you say that.
No, you haven't.
I'm getting ready. I'm preparing for our annual Halloween carnival.
But you're doing it to be ironic and funny from the 90s. What I'm saying is, in college, did you ever roll into the football players' party and they're
Sure.
like, hey, turn up
No.
Will Smith, Wild Wild West.
No, we had Californication playing in the back. Yeah.
Some, some,
Not Wild.
what is it?
Yeah, you get laughed out of the room.
Some
man.
Sublime. A lot of DMX at this time. You're going to get
That's
some
a good way to
Eminem.
shut that party down. Hey, everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
I got the most recent Will
I got
Smith.
the Will Smith drop.
Let me put this
Boom.
in. Yeah.
Wild Wild West. I'm stepping into the. I mean, these lyrics.
Wow.
These lyrics aren't even.
That would
good.
be. Yeah, that would.
Look
at that.
Seriously, is this different than Jiggy with it, or
No.
it's the same beat, same cadence, everything's the same?
Oh, see.
It's rough.
Ain't trying to hit
I
it.
made no effort.
So it was popular. Number one.
Number
Will
one.
Smith's rising stardom. He was anything he touched at the time was fire, as the kids say.
Slapped.
Slapped? Is that what it is? Okay. I never know. My kids corrected me that day. I said something. They
You
said
got me laughing. You saying
Yeah.
slap makes me laugh.
I don't know. It's
fine.
slapped.
We try to be cool
Yeah.
around here.
Catchy melody and lyrics, had an infectious melody, memorable lyrics, strong beat, easy to listen to, easy to remember.
Maybe it eats.
Oh, it eats.
You said about the eats?
Eat it. And then I
Maybe it
tried to
eats.
say something the other morning. My kids said, no, we don't say that anymore. I was like, we were saying that.
Like 2
Anyway.
seconds ago.
Anyway, it had a kind of a retro thing. So you were sampling old songs. You had Cool Mo D in there. So we're trying to bring in the older listeners. The song was a theme for, so you had the movie vehicle again to carry it along. And then you had Drew Hill, who was hot at the time. And so
Yeah,
you
I get
had
you.
all the elements to make this a
Sure, I believe it.
I don't know if it'd be inaccurate to say it was a money grab, right? So I mean, this is a sure hit, as the producer would say.
A sure hit. So,
We
all
don't
right.
care if
Well,
it's going to be good. but
I think it's number one just because of Will Smith. I don't think it's number one because it's a good song. So
Yeah, I agree.
I'll die on that hill.
Yep,
if
I think
have
that's
to.
fair.
Well, that's our list of songs. Of how were these number one in the 90s?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've cleared anything up about how the success that they had. Maybe we started to get an idea from our resident expert here, Rob.
I don't know.
You seem to have a running theme of an infectious beat,
Yeah.
a melody that was easy to sing along to, a chorus that was catchy.
But I think it says a lot about what people wanted in the 90s.
But I don't think
What a
so.
weird time.
I mean, if you look at all the ebbs and flows of music, I don't know what people wanted in the 90s.
That's what I mean.
For like
I think
3
what a
years, they
strange
wanted
time.
grunge music, and then
Yeah.
at the end of the 90s, they wanted rap and R&B a lot, and they wanted boy bands again,
Yeah.
and so and that R&B kind of singing groups like Boyz II Men were always
Yeah.
kind of around, and then you had a weird ska phase. You had a weird. I
Yeah.
mean, it was such a roller coaster of different
Yes.
ideas. So I don't know what anybody wants.
This is true.
So, but I don't
That's
think
what I mean.
anybody-
I think
But you can't convince me anybody wanted Tommy Page. The Billboard's convincing me they are, but I'm like,
the early 90 people did. That was a thing.
we
So
were early
strange.
90s people. We didn't want Tommy
I know,
Page.
but we were young at early 90s.
But we're the consumers at that point. I just
know.
can't see 20-year-olds like rocking out to Tommy Page in 1990. Like they just got to college. I'm feeling like REM and Beastie
Yeah.
Boys and The Cure and those kinds of things. That's what the college kids we listen to. So it had to be like house moms and working dads
Yeah.
driving to work,
That's
driving
true.
this stuff around.
That's true.
Like there's no other way.
And this was before streaming. This was before. I mean,
And
so
do you
yeah,
think
it was the
anyone
physical.
kept
buying.
a straight face calling their local radio station. Hey, Big John, can you play in the next hour that Tommy T song or that Tommy Page song? Timmy T, Tom Page.
Yeah.
Can I get that Gloria Stefan? Like that was getting requested by somebody.
This is true.
Somebody was at home ready to click record, waiting anxiously to get a hold of this because they didn't want to pay the $4.99 for the single.
This is
So,
true.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
No, it was a weird time.
I agree.
The 90s were odd.
All right. Well, I have a list of some incredible 90s tracks that never made it to number one. So when you hear what we played today and then you hear these songs, I think your jaw shall droppeth just a little bit there, Robert.
Okay.
We've got Eric Clapton's Heartfelt Tears in Heaven. Never got to number one.
Really?
Yep. The Soulful Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's a travesty.
Nope. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Never even sniffed, I think, the top 20.
That's dumb.
Don't forget Jamiroquai's Virtual Insanity. Never got to number one. And that you think in 97 that would have been a hit.
Yeah.
Radiohead's Creep. Nope, not number one.
See, what do people want?
Boys to Men's Motown Philly. Nope, no number one for them. And let's not overlook Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison. No. Dr. Dre's Nothing But a G Thing. Not a number one hit. Those are a few examples. There's lots more. But all of those songs, I would say, even though they weren't number one, people would say are more memorable. Now, I'm not saying these songs that we played today for a select group of people aren't. That was my song. That was my wedding song.
Yeah.
If any of these were the wedding song,
I'm sorry.
I hope we did some renuptials and we found some other music to let's take that memory out. So a first dance to One More Try. Timmy T? I don't know. That might not work. So
I don't think that would have been a very fortuitous song for a wedding, you know.
I don't know. Yeah. One More Try? It doesn't
Unless that was
sound
like their second marriage or something.
maybe. Yeah. It sounds,
don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good theme.
No.
Well, what about the I'll Be Your Everything?
We could do that.
That could be thematic.
Yeah. That would be.
All right.
that
Well,
would
when
be
you
uplifting.
and your wife redo your nuptials, we'll play Tommy Page.
That'd be sweet.
We'll see what she thinks about that.
Oh yeah. Because
who
yeah,
needs Allison Krauss when you can play Tommy Page?
That's right. We didn't.
That's right.
We didn't even consider him.
No, that's a fail. Now you failed.
I feel really dumb.
It's either that or Divine. That's your other option. So,
was really good.
The one you apparently
Yeah.
like. So, all right. Well, if you're loving this blast from the past, which you should be, make sure you take a quick second, subscribe to the show if you haven't done so already, so you never miss any episodes, just like you never wanted to miss your favorite shows back in the day. And hey, we want to hear from you. Hit us up on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you can find us. We're on all the social media sites. Drop us a line, share your favorite 80s, 90s memory, highlights of the show, or just say, hey, we like you guys. We appreciate it. We love all those kinds of comments.
Yeah. Ahoy, nostalgic sailors. Let's raise the sails of yesterday and set a course for awesomeness. Feeling like a little guy that lives in a blue world and all day and all night and everything you see is just blue? Maybe you've got a blue house and a blue little window and a blue Corvette and everything is blue for you and yourself and everybody around you because you ain't got nobody to listen. If that's the case, just remember, Dave and I are the perfect complement to your listening experience and the perfect antidote to modern life. We are the lock to your key, the puzzle to your piece, the maze to your exit, and the riddle to your answer. Visit Totally 80s, 90s Recall at podbean.com, and we'll have you say hello to my little friend in no time. If it's knowledge you seek, send us an email at 80s90srecall@gmail.com. Consider the Totally 80s, 90s Recall podcast your sanctuary of Snickers, not candy bars. Come in, laugh freely, joke, or indulge in humor without judgment or consequence. We are a space where people can relax, let loose, and find amusement, often as a way to cope with stress or difficult emotions.
All right. Well, you've been dragging me up and down the field for about 6 months with your email website where you get all your pop culture in.
Yeah.
You've been dragging me.
Yeah.
So I tried. It's
Okay.
not as
Okay.
good as yours. But
All right.
here we go. Well, if you're vibing with our totally tubular trip through the 80s and 90s, why not show us some love? Hit that 5-star button like you're beating the final boss in Street Fighter and drop us a review. Because let's be real, we need more stars than the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Your reviews help us keep the nostalgia flowing, and we promise to keep the mixtapes spinning. So come on, give us a rad shout out and help us stay as cool as Zach Morris's cell phone.
Hey, there
you go.
I like that. Nice job.
Yeah, you've been killing me with that, so I thought I'd put a little
Golly.
thought and effort into it this
All
week.
right.
So, you got any closing thoughts after
I
this
do. I actually-
wonderful array of music we
Yeah, I actually found two. These are two YouTube comments. One's from 6 years ago. One's from 2 years ago. One's from Joshua Roberts 6937. 6 years ago, he says, "There is just something about the music from the late 80s and early 90s. The touching lyrics, the great videos, the innocence. Something about it just touches your soul. This song, I can't remember which one, it brings back so many memories. Oh, how I wish I could go back and live in that era forever." At High Loluna 2 years ago, she says, I've made this comment a million times, but it was an absolute honor to be me, or for me to be a teenager between 1990 and 1993. The absolute best times. I just wished I had embraced them better with more confidence.
I don't disagree with either of those comments. Both very good.
Yeah, I just thought
Yes.
there's something about the music of the 90s.
Correct.
That regardless of how corny.
I agree with that. I don't know if these 13 songs fit into that.
These 13,
but,
not agree.
Again,
But-
for somebody, maybe it does.
and
you
some of these comments were from songs from songs that I watched.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
from the video I watched. And so
got
these
you.
are the comments under them.
That's
So
good.
these songs do resonate.
They resonate with people. Look,
I don't
already
understand
said-
how, but
Yeah.
again, I think it goes back to what I said. I think the 90s were such a weird
Yeah.
time in music. We went through so many phases and so many genres and types.
Yeah.
And
No, it definitely, these resonate with probably thousands of people, lots of people. I understand someone out there was like, Nelson was my thing. Like I loved Nelson.
Right.
And I'm not against that. I'm just saying, again, I don't even hate all these songs. There's about 5 of them I kind of pretty much detest, but I don't mind some of them. I just don't think they were worthy of a number one spot.
I agree with that.
When I look at all the music that never got there on the countdown.
Absolutely
It's just rough and when you think about the iconic songs of the 90s that didn't get to number one, and these are pretty forgettable. A lot of people don't go back to these.
Yeah.
A high percentage don't. There's people that do, but a high percentage are not going to be firing up Tommy Page and Timmy T and Gloria Estefan. It's just not going to happen. I don't think
maybe
so. But maybe I'm wrong.
We'll rekindle that.
If I'm wrong, let me know we're wrong in the comments and all that other stuff. Say, no, that playlist is fire. I'm going to listen to it all day.
I bet you there's going to be listeners out there going, I've never heard of Tommy T. I
No,
know they're going to be, oh my gosh, where was
Timmy
T?
T.
Sorry,
Tommy
Timmy T.
Page.
See, I'm getting my Timmys.
Yeah,
my
you get
T's
too many
mixed
T's.
up. Yeah.
All right. Well, the 90s were an incredible decade for music with so many genres and styles thriving. But as we've explored today, it could also be a bit confusing at times. We hope you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, revisiting some of our more, shall we say, interesting number one hits from the 90s. If today's musical picks struck a chord with you, which I have to admit raises a couple questions, we've added links to Spotify, Apple, and Amazon playlists in the show notes. So feel free to take a full listen. And who knows, maybe they'll become the soundtrack to the next time you really want to piss off your neighbors. All right. So stop playing Tommy Page. And finally, a big shout out to you, our awesome listeners. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're a longtime subscriber, we can't thank you enough for hanging out with us this week. We hope we've given you an hour or so of laughs and memories. And don't forget, you can catch all new episodes of Totally 80s and 90s Recall every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
That is correct.
Hey, what are we doing next time?
All right, in my most intimidating, sinister voice, get ready to lock your doors and avoid babysitting gigs because we're going back to where modern horror probably started, 1978's Halloween.
Oh,
Michael Myers.
So we're
a pinch.
we're
Deviating a little out of our
80s.
80s. We'll take the fire on this
wow.
one. I think it's 80s adjacent and pretty relevant to the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's a classic. Yeah. And I don't care. We're doing it. We love it. So we're going to make it happen.
No, I think your argument is sound.
Yeah.
It really set up the 80s.
It did.
For
and
80s horror film.
Just as a reminder from our last show, Connor's Corner is of no more now because of him being off in college. So we remind everyone this week before Friday after this releases, if you want to send in a Connor's Corner and you or I would say someone of a teenage or some sort of child or nephew or niece or whomever you watched the movie with, if they want to they'll be the guest spot on Connor's Corner. Yeah. And then again, if we get nothing, then no Connor's Corner.
That's all right.
So you just have to not complain about that. So, well, I think that's about it. You got anything else? We should probably get out of here. We've jibber jabbered, as people have told us, or what was it?
Yapped.
We've probably yapped enough.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm looking at the time clock. Kip's giving me the watch tap. Yeah. So we got to get to the next thing.
All right.
So we got to get out of the studio so the next group can come in.
That's right. We're paying rent for this space.
Booked.
Jeez.
So, well, fancy goodbye.
No fancy goodbye. Oh, there they are. That's some beautiful hair.
People love Nelson.
I'm just jealous because I never had the hair. How does somebody grow hair that long?
I don't know. This had to be a poster on somebody's wall.
Oh, I'm sure.
Matthew N. Gunner.
I think my mom had the poster. Those Gunner, those Nelson boys.
Those Nelson boys are pretty nice. Well, I can live without them.
Pretty nice.